So let's just talk about the first question that I get. How do I feel about going into a coding boot camp? Honestly, it's something that I feel like I really need to do. I know the questions will really come up as to why don't you just learn on your own? If you have enough free time that you have right now, you can learn coding. Coding is not that hard, blah, blah, blah. There's so many resources. You got books, you got YouTube, you got all. The truth of the matter is, and for me to break it down, is that I need structure. The one thing that I taught a lot of people, even when I was in compliance and leading my own team, was basically people need structure and discipline. I would not give somebody the advice that I wouldn't take myself. And I know that's something that we as humans are very good at doing. We're good at giving out advice that we wouldn't necessarily take ourselves. So when I tell a lot of people that the things that I know that made me rather successful in coming up in my field of compliance, and take successes however you wish to put that as, it's the same thing that I'm going to say that I have to do to myself, for myself. And that is, if I tell people that they need to have structure and discipline in their life in order to be able to push past their barriers and to be able to really deep dive into stuff, then it's only fair that I say that I need structure and discipline in order to be able to move forward. Some people can see something just one time and get it. Some people, they need to see something 10 times before they really understand it in order to be able to grasp the concept. For those who know about me, I had went to school for computer network operations, and I never got into the field. I did a little bit of a help desk for a short time, but I never actually got into the field of working. So yes, I'm one of the many Americans who have a degree that never used it. I never actually got back in the field, and I wound up in compliance, something I never thought I would be in, but it just so happened because of my other abilities and my other talents that I happen to be good at it. And that's why I stayed roughly 7 to 10 year mark, depending on how you want to put it. Why am I going to a boot camp? I'm going to a boot camp for that discipline. It's nice to be able to also work with other people who have been in the field. I'm pretty sure there's going to be other people who already have a leg up in the business or in the tech space or in that idea of coding, and whether they're doing a refresher or whether they're doing it for a career change or whatever, it's nice to be able to build up that kind of clientele, to be able to partner with them in order to move towards the next venture in your life. Because like a lot of things I tell a lot of people is that, and I'm pretty sure you have already heard it, your network is your net worth. And it's always good to be able to build, especially with people who know more than you do or are seeking the same thing that you are, that you know that you may be able to rely on in the future, especially if you've proven yourself to be quite reliable. The next question is, so why did I not take a moment to learn coding myself? Again, it's something that you can do. Not everybody learns that way. And also, I am 40 years old. I can't say that I have an abundance of time, an abundance of money, not because I'm old or anything, but the abundance of money. I can't say that I have unlimited resources, and therefore there's a finite amount of time. And the same way how you say you need to put in a lot of time to be able to grind, to be able to learn something, is the same way how a lot of time can also create a lot of stagnation. And then you just built up really the habit of being lazy. So that's not something I wish to have for myself. Next question would be, how do I feel now that I'm about to start a coding bootcamp? So this is really something that is interesting. I mean, it's the same way as trying to take any other skill going into anything. Anybody can pretty much say that they have this feeling when they first go to college, and they're closer to that first day of school. Or I guess if you're younger than that and it was your first day walking into a new high school, I'm not necessarily nervous for meeting my other cohorts and meeting the instructors and things like that. That's not the stuff that makes me nervous. What I think that gets in me is am I prepared to do this? Am I prepared for the curriculum? Especially if I don't feel like I'm up to par, it's going to suck, because it means it's going to be more of a challenge to study and everything else. But I plan on taking advantage of everything that I have, whether it is the other people that's there, whether it is knowing what the questions are, even though I'm not grasping it. So even having the questions can be able to push you forward to be able to learn it. Because if you have the question, you know what to ask. If you know what to ask, then you can just do the research in order to be able to get the answer. I am nervous that despite the fact that I've done a lot of the, how do I say it? That I've done a lot of the practice and the prep work, and I can't even say, what's considered the level of practice or how much practice is enough practice, because everybody's different. But I've done some practice for some time, and I guess the thing that makes me nervous is that I'm going to start school and I'm not going to be able to really understand what's happening because I don't know where they're starting off at. And I guess that's that challenge that you have to have when getting into a boot camp, because you have people that are already ahead that feel like they don't really think that they're getting much out of it, because the people that are there also are people that are behind. And then there's the opposite. There are people that is behind that think that maybe they need to be able to understand the things that are going on, and instead the curriculum is really something that's forward. Next question. Why did I not join sooner, as the pandemic would have been the perfect time to do so? There's several reasons for that. Number one, I did not know what was really going to happen. I didn't think about the tech world in terms of front end, back end, web development. I never really thought about being a coder as someone who went to school to learn more of the cybersecurity side. On top of that, you could say I was a little bit comfortable in my last job of compliance. Like, it would have been the time to leave because I had already been thinking to myself that I was bored, but my job had really kept me in the loop where I felt like I was doing well because I liked working with particular people, or I was good enough at my job where I wasn't threatened about losing it. I didn't once think during the pandemic that I wasn't going to have a job. I never thought that. In fact, during the pandemic, when we were all furloughed, is when I actually got the opportunity to push forward as a leader. So I never once thought that I wasn't going to have a job. Next question. The question is, will I be somewhat disappointed with the end results? I am hoping not. You don't know, especially because I'm investing money into it, my own personal money into it. I believe that regardless of where I'm coming from in this venture, I think the end result will not be a total disaster. So I'm trying not to look for disappointment, or rather, I am not expecting a disappointment in it. I don't think it'll be disappointment because it'll still be more at the end, give me more. This is the way I'm thinking. It will still give me more of a push forward and an advantage that I had not walking into it at all. The way I look at it is, I can have someone who could try to give me some structure and some discipline and be able to move forward, to be able to get myself into a career that I really felt like I should have been in a long time ago, and be able to work in a field that I believe is going to be not only important, which it is, but also prominent for my future. So this question is a funny one because it's the same question that I did not even think about when I came out for network operations and trying to get into cybersecurity. And that is, do I think I'm going to be able to land a career within my field after the boot camp? Well, the particular boot camp that I'm getting into has a career service. You can take that however you want, because while they do have a career service and I plan on leaning on that as well, it's not something that I am wholeheartedly putting all of my eggs in one basket for. I intend to apply and be able to not only meet up with recruiters, but speak to recruiters, and also applying to different industries myself. So it's nice to be able to have somebody who's going to help you learn everything you need to do in order to successfully get their job by passing the interviews, but also having the resources to be able to do it yourself, and also being able to have somebody help you actually receive your first job in it. Final question, and that is, do I think I'll be a good enough coder? What's good enough? There are who knows how many coders, and this is well before it became popular. I mean, who can consider that? I guess I have to rephrase the question that was given, and it's not will I be a good enough coder? Is, do I think I'll be a good enough coder? And I think I will be a coder that is always in development, because the one thing that I appreciate about the space is that it's a job that you can't say, well, I mastered it and there's nothing I need to learn because I'm just at the top. No, it's always changing. It's actually one of the reasons why I stepped away from the field of cybersecurity for its time, is that things were not always changing. Well, things were always changing, and that wasn't a problem for me. It was the certifications and whatnot that you had to keep up with. In my mind, could be wrong, don't know for sure, but in my mind, when it comes to software engineering, is that even though the industry changes or advances, the programming language roughly remains the same. That's just the way I look at it. I could definitely be wrong, and I'm more than willing to go change my perspective on it over time. Yeah, so that's all I really have. These are my thoughts, and this is what I'm thinking about in terms of me starting up in software engineering in my boot camp, which is going to be really soon. So I hope to be able to put out content of how am I doing, what do I think is going on, how am I going to be able to push that moving forward, and also keep up with me because I'm going to be doing other things as well, how I'm planning on getting things started up for myself. There's a lot going on, and I don't know if I have all the time for it because I'm going to be putting myself and throwing myself so deeply into this software engineering. But I would like to take a look at all the other avenues that I've got lined up for myself as well. I just said a whole lot there. So rock out with me, see what happens, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves.